Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation on my Google Site project titled AI in Healthcare Research. Um, I created this website by using Google Sites, which is a user-friendly tool that allows you to build websites without writing code. I started by selecting a pre-designed theme and then added pages for each section of my project, like the home, impact, technical aspects, and references. Using Google Sites is actually pretty different than building a website with HTML and CSS. With those, you have full control over like the design and the structure of the site, but it requires like a lot more in-depth coding, and it takes a lot more time. Google Sites, on the other hand, simplifies the process with like drag and drop elements and everything like that to make it uh, accessible for beginners and kind of user friendly. Um, my Google site is stored in Google Drive, just like a Google Doc, and I can access it from any device with internet access, and edits are saved automatically, um, just like it would be for a Google Doc. And then I just clicked publish, and that made this site exist. So my site includes several graphics to help visualize my ideas. I have this GIF that I made here. I also have some media from YouTube, some graphs that I took this from online. I made this one. This is an infographic that I made. I also have some more YouTube media. And so, yeah, I use Canva actually to make this uh, infographic. So going into the questions, for question A, indicate the name of the innovation and provide a clear description of its intended purpose, such as the problem that the innovation solved, the opportunity that the innovation created, or the discovery that the innovation made possible. On this page, I defined AI as like the ability of machines to mimic human intelligence, including learning and reasoning. And I also explained how it can be used to find patterns and scan things. So it can like go through medical records, uh, test results and scans, and it can find patterns. And basically, all around what it does for the field is makes things easier for medical professionals. For B, um, explain a benefit and or harmful effect of the innovation. So I kind of went through and emphasized more about how it is a much easier program or like programs that doctors and medical professionals can use, so that it saves a lot of time. So they're not, wasting a lot of time updating records or trying to find different things. It really just kind of saves a lot of time to maximize the amount of attention that the doctor is giving to the patient, and it also could make things so much easier. Like say if they had a meeting, which I talked about, um, the algorithm can just already give an overview of things that should be addressed based off of medical records that it has gathered over time with its sorting algorithm, and so it could doctors can spend the most time with them. And this was a video that I added along with it. It's from a TED Talk with Leonardo Castorina, and it talks about the general need to know for for AI. And like I said, it goes briefly into some of the stuff I talked about here. For question C, explain the impact that the innovation has had on society, economy, and or culture. Here, I briefly talked about how it was a game changer for doctors, like I said, to diagnose things more accurately and kind of help things run more smooth, save time. And on top of that, it is project for the projections in the year 2026. The market for AI in healthcare is growing a lot more quickly, and money is being invested into lots of different places. And this graph that I found online also kind of highlights some of the things that we could see that hopefully are to come with AI and healthcare innovation. So this measures things in the billions of US dollars, but also it gives a nice overview of the things that are trying to have AI integrated into in the medical field. I also have for the um, response sheet that I have here, I have the graph that was made with the survey responses, talking about how it's a pie chart and how there was 21 different responses, and it shows how their opinions on how much AI has affected healthcare, like on society, how they see the impact on the world being. This is also another little tidbit that summarizes this. Here's the infographic that was made on Canva, which talks about the general what is AI in healthcare. This kind of goes more in depth into the Google form that we had to make. And for D, indicate one field other than computer science, which is innovation has impacted or has had or has the potential to impact. Um, Obviously, I talked about how the field that it is affecting is the healthcare field. I talk about how it speeds up the diagnosing process, data logging, making lives for patients and doctors easier, the potential that it has based off of these investment opportunities, showing like robot assisted surgery, um, and basically just kind of talking about how it can completely reshape the field with more time to come and develop, with more investments and research that goes into it because it's rapidly growing and more things are being um, assisted with AI in healthcare. Moving on to question E, describe how a user interacts with the innovation. So I talk about the user in the case most likely being a medical professional or a doctor. I talk about a couple examples here, which I also were found in this video. This video, I'll talk about the video first. The video explains how doctors are looking at AI and healthcare innovations and explaining how they use them. And the two examples that I use here was one of a dermatologist taking a look at the skin of a patient, and then they are just able to take a picture of an area they want to, evaluate and have it sent through the algorithm to determine if the skin needs to be biopsied or not. Another thing was when people come in for a eye exam, they can have a photo taken of their eye, and that could also be put through a photo recognition algorithm, which can determine if the patient has a diabetic eye disease and that if they can treat it soon. Because it says in this video that sometimes people come in uh, and the eye disease is already too far gone and they can't really do much about it. But with this AI recognition, once that happens, it's a lot easier to find at a earlier stage. So it potentially has the opportunity to save someone's sight. Also talking about how the interaction, like actual interaction between the user and the program, is kind of minimal, but that is kind of the point. So all the doctor really has to do is either take a picture or hit like a refresh button or type in a very simple yes no to something. And the slim interaction that is directly had between the doctor and the program kind of advocates for how it makes things a lot easier for these professionals, as it just kind of summarizes things quickly to get the most efficient use of their time. And question F, describe in detail how the innovations technology incorporates at least one of the big ideas of abstraction, algorithms, programming, and or the internet to accomplish its purpose. I went into the algorithms part of this. So I talk about how the AI can use decision trees in order to evaluate the records or data that's given to it. So I talk about how, like I just said a second ago, if simple yes or no answers are given based off of questions that the algorithm may have, such as does the patient have a fever, do they have a cough, um, very basic example, but these can go as in depth as you know the programmer would want them to go, and the algorithm of the decision tree basically takes the information that it has and it gathers all the things that it's also given and kind of takes paths to follow kind of like a linear flow in order to eventually come to a absolute answer at the end. And this could be as simple or in depth as you want to go. And I also took a look at the photo recognition aspect. I talked about how CNN algorithms or convolutional neural networks are used to evaluate the photos. I talk about how it uses a RLU and how the CNN uses pooling to go over and over again using different filters on different photos, uh, getting rid of information it doesn't need, keeping the ones it does need, doing this multiple times. And then once it has the answer that it needs, it'll display an answer for you. So, an example of that would be like, yes, this person has a diabetic eye disease that needs to be taken care of, and they learned that through the CNN algorithm in the picture that it was taken. And over here, I have my references page. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have some references from like a general ChatGPT reference. I have something from Market US Scoop, which talks about the vital information, looking at AI in healthcare on the economic side of it. This is also where I got the graph for the impact section here. I then go to the School of Health information, talking about how decision trees and AI algorithms are used, and it gives details on how it can be applied to various things and how it was used for COVID-19. That's what's in this article. This article goes over just kind of general AI and healthcare things, kind of the basic, like if you want to start researching this topic, this is where I kind of landed at the beginning. So I had this here. I also have another article that talks about the early uses of decision tree algorithms. Um, just kind of just have like a uh, predator to what came out to other decision trees because I found that very interesting. And I also have these both of these talk about how convolutional neural networks are used. So for this one from Springer Berlin Hildberg, this one focuses on how it's used in radiology. And from the Oxford Academic, this one talks about kind of the overall general step-by-step knowledge of how it would work. And that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something new about the role of AI in healthcare and how I use the digital tools to explore this.